Welcome to this midweek 5, and today I want to bring you a well-known scripture from Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is one of my favourite books in the Bible. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven. Time to be born, a time to die. Time to plant and a time to harvest. Time to kill and a time to heal. Time to tear down and a time to build up. Time to cry and a time to laugh. Time to grieve and a time to dance. Time to scatter stones, a time to gather stones. Time to embrace and a time to turn away. Time to search and a time to quit searching. Time to keep and a time to throw away. Time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be quiet and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. Time for war and a time for peace. What do people really get for all their hard work? I've seen the burden God has placed on us all, yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. These verses with their contrasts of opposites encompass all of life. You can put everything, every activity possible on earth in here. And these verses suggest that there are different seasons in life and God is in control of them. We're in a season at the moment of death, of tearing down, of crying, of scattering and of quiet. It's not a comfortable season, but we have to recognise it for what it is. It is a season. 1/3 of the Psalms are laments spoken out when the seasons of life have been tough and confusing. We have no control over the seasons of weather, and we often have very little control over the seasons of life either. As humans, we like to plan things out and be in control and determine our future, but the events of COVID-19 show us there's actually much we have very little control over. No matter how hard we work, seasons can suddenly roll in that can undo everything in an instant. Who would have imagined at Christmas time that all the work of, say, training to be an airline pilot would be gone with mass worldwide redundancies? Who could have imagined that our pride and joy of Invercargill, the transport world, would be suddenly threatened with closure? Who could have imagined a cafe that maybe you'd worked to develop for years could suddenly be closed indefinitely? In such a season as this, what is God calling us to do? How do we live in a time like this? I think we're all grappling with what the answer to that is, but it has to mean that we don't carry on as if things are the same. It has to mean we reflect and consider what are the new patterns for this season of life. The scripture says that God has placed eternity in our hearts. What it means is we instinctively think there has to be more to life than what we can see in just our short time on earth. And yet we struggle to see God's plan from our narrow window. It's like we're looking out a narrow slit at a scene and we can't see what's on either side of the scene. We know there has to be something beyond what we can see, but we have no way of seeing until we can come out from behind that narrow slit in the wall, as it were, and stand on the other side of the wall. Only then will we truly see God's plan in all its entirety. We have to accept and embrace this season, knowing that there will be another season coming, one of dancing, of gathering, of embracing and rebuilding. This might seem a long way off at the moment, but this season will not last forever. The writer says that history shows that this is not something new. It's happened before and will happen again. We're called to live in this moment, confident that God is working out his plans and purposes. We're to embrace what God has for us at this time. But as Christians, we live in the knowledge that of eternity, that this life is not all there is. We have greater insight than the writer of Ecclesiastes, because we know the reality of Jesus and what he has promised. He's promised he'll never leave us and that death is not the end. We have a coming eternity far more beautiful than what we can imagine. So now we live actually with a double hope, that this present lockdown season will pass, as all seasons do pass, and that no matter how tough things get, we have an incredible future awaiting us. I trust you're encouraged as you reflect on these words.